Step right up because we have ourselves the newest development in the Alex DeBrincat trade rumor sphere. Now, this has been a guy we've talked about a few times on the channel before, and he certainly has had his fair share of the spotlight when it comes to conversations on inevitable trades. But Elliotte Friedman, on the recent episode of the Real Kyper Bourne Show, went onto the program and had himself a little stint that I wanted to talk about here in this video. We're going over onto the Philadelphia Flyers, a team that actually has been linked to yet another small-ish forward. Okay, what am I talking about? Small-ish? Small forward that is potentially going to be on the free agent block. We're talking about Johnny Gaudreau, of course. They've been linked to him because, you know, everybody knows that Johnny Gaudreau grew up as a Flyers fan and is going to be a free agent, assuming he doesn't re-sign with the Flames this offseason. But DeBrincat is apparently also on their radar, which shouldn't be too much of a surprise at this point because we've made 2 videos about it. However, Elliotte Friedman expanded on that idea on the Bourne Show, or excuse me, the Kyper and Bourne Show. It's so difficult for me because I kind of remember the Real Kyper at Noon show that actually aired during the 2020 bubble, and that was kind of a fun little program to watch. So hearing his name alongside of another name on broadcast radio now, it's a little bit different, but either way, the Real Kyper and Bourne Show had Friedman on as a guest, and this is what he said on the program. I think for Philadelphia, I'm very curious to see if they will offer the 5th overall pick, or have already offered it for DeBrincat. I do think that's a possibility. He also said this: if they do trade DeBrincat this week, it's going to be interesting to see how Kane and Toews react. Now, that's going to be a second conversation we're going to have in this video, but I just wanted to go over the 5th overall pick and what this could do for a potential Flyers DeBrincat trade as well. Now, we had already discussed the trade price that was revealed in earlier media leaks from some of the NHL insiders that we had. Apparently, Alex DeBrincat's going rate on the market is something of a first-round pick, a young player, as well as a top prospect. Now that, as we have discussed in that video, is not really a unique package. We have seen this be kind of the staple offer that everybody says for names like Miller, Chychrun, Eichel even, so the fact that it's a first-round pick, a young guy, and another prospect, it's not really all too surprising. However, when you consider what that pick could be, and whether or not that pick is somewhere in, let's say, the late first round, the mid first round, or maybe even top 5, I think that definitely should change the qualifications for the rest of the assets involved in said trade. This is the current Tankathon list for the top 10 picks in the NHL. You have yourselves Philadelphia, who is at that 5th overall spot. However, you may notice that the 6th overall pick, that doesn't belong to Chicago. In fact, it belongs to Columbus now. The Blackhawks lost their first-round pick in 2022 because they traded it away in the Seth Jones move. Yeah, it's kind of funny how they traded away what was a 6th overall pick, as well as Adam Boqvist, and another pick that became Cole Sillinger in exchange for Seth Jones. I mean, I get it, they got a first-round pick as well, so it's just kind of like they moved down in the draft to select Nolan Allen, but still, in hindsight, it doesn't really look like the best move on paper, but the Philadelphia Flyers do have themselves a first-round pick that is in that same range. If the Blackhawks are super desperate to say, darn it man, Nemec or Jiricek or whoever it is that is available at 5th overall, or 6th overall for that matter, we really like the guys that are in that spot and we don't have a pick anymore. Darn it man, if only there was a team willing to trade a pick in that similar range for an asset that we actually have on the block right now. Cough, cough, Philadelphia Flyers. Now, the 5th overall pick for Chicago actually would be pretty good. They would probably have themselves a selection of, let's just assume it's going to be Wright, Slavkovsky, Cooley, and then one of the right-handed defensemen, Nemec or Jiricek. Chicago, if they drafted 5th overall, you're going to have yourselves a selection of one of those players, and you're still going to have an opportunity to get a Brad Lambert or a Savoy or a Cutter Gauthier or a Lekaramaki as well, if you really wanted to steer in that direction. However, it would be kind of unproductive, in my opinion, to trade away a guy like DeBrincat and get a player like Lekaramaki coming back, because I feel like the goal-scoring potential that Lekaramaki brings to the NHL at his peak is sort of in the territory of what DeBrincat brings now. I mean, we talked about this in the previous video, but Alex DeBrincat has been a goal-scoring machine. He has had 30 goals in 3 of the 5 seasons he has spent at the NHL level, and he had 2 40-goal seasons already under his belt, too. This guy is very talented, and he is a goal scorer. He is a small, shifty, just absolutely offensive force out there, which is why some of these trade packages are kind of involving picks that could be seen as high as 5th overall. Now, of course, if you're trading away DeBrincat for 5th, you're not just getting that 5th back, you're probably getting some other prospects included and some other young guys as well. Whether or not that is the case still, because 5th overall is definitely a lot different from, let's say, 15th overall if some other team in the mid-teens were to try to go for DeBrincat, I don't know, but maybe, just for the sake of argument, let's just say the Philadelphia Flyers, instead of going all balls to the wall with a young roster forward, they just go with a top prospect and maybe some other forward as well. They've drafted pretty alright the past few years. Samu Tuomola is a guy that I do indeed like. He was taken in the 2nd round of the 2021 draft. Tyson Forrester is a guy with an absolute bullet of a shot. He was taken in the 1st round of the 2020 draft. Emil Andre is a very interesting defensive prospect in that system as well. You also have Cam York, Bobby Brink, and Ronnie Adder, the 3 Philadelphia prospects from the 2019 draft, all of whom I believe are very good prospects. So many of these guys could potentially enter the conversation if you're talking about what could be added alongside of the 5th overall pick to make Chicago say yes to a DeBrincat trade. If you go over to the Flyers and you take a look at who is on their roster here, let's see the players who are under the age of 25, for example. Konechny is 25 flat, and there have already been trade rumors about that guy, so who really knows if he is going to be involved in this sort of discussion. Farabee is 22, but he's locked up at $5 million a year. I think the Flyers definitely want to hold on to Farabee because he is a very talented player. You also have Oscar Lindblom, who is 25, Brink himself, who is 20, Morgan Frost, who is 23 years old. I'm a very big fan, by the way, of Morgan Frost. I definitely want to see him prosper into the NHL player that he could be. Zach McEwen is also on this team. I don't think he's really going to fetch too much value on the trade market. Sorry about that. Owen Tippett is as well, but, I mean, the Flyers just acquired that guy for Giroux, so you're probably not going to see him get traded anytime soon. And then on defense, you have yourselves Ronnie Adder himself, Cam York, and that's about it for 25-year-old defenders. Actually, I mean, Provorov is right there, but he's likely not going to be on his way out, especially in a trade that already involves a 5th overall pick. But if you're a Chicago Blackhawks fan, let me know in the comments all your thoughts about this idea over here. Could a package for DeBrincat of, let's just say, Cam York, the 5th overall pick, and some other young player, let's say, for the sake of argument, Morgan Frost, is that something you would be interested in doing when it comes to a DeBrincat trade? Would you be okay with getting a Jiricek or a Nemec at the 5th overall spot and using DeBrincat as the trade chip to get that? I know long-term, you could definitely debate that DeBrincat himself probably could max out as a more valuable option than some of these guys, but it's all about the combined value, right? So if you're a Blackhawks fan, is that the trade package that makes you say yes? If it's not, let me know in the comments what else you would want from Philadelphia in this sort of trade scenario. It's a 5th overall pick and X. What exactly is that X? Please articulate it in the comment section below. If you're a Flyers fan, I know we've got a lot of Philadelphia Flyers fans on YouTube searching up videos and checking out discourse on your team. Is this something you would be interested in doing? Getting rid of a Frost or a York or an Adder, as well as the 5th overall pick for an Alex DeBrincat? You still would have the opportunity to maybe chase some guys in free agency, but I'm not really too sure because you only have $5 million in cap space, and DeBrincat himself is making, what is that, $6.4 million? So yeah, you're going to have to make some moves if you still want to go after a Johnny Gaudreau or whatever. Let's say you trade for DeBrincat, you trade away some big contracts, and then you sign Gaudreau, having a DeBrincat and Gaudreau line. Oh my goodness, that actually sounds so good now that I think about it. But let me know in the comments all your thoughts about these trade rumors over here. Friedman on the Real Kyper Bourne Show. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.